All right, welcome to Conversations with Nation. This is a Royal Nation episode, so that means you are getting myself and the lovely queen over here. I am Brittany Nation. She is
Sita, baby. That's me. Welcome back, self.
So yeah. Sorry, what you said in the middle. Happy Easter. Whatever that means to you, or doesn't mean, I don't know. Is that?
God is good.
Oh, okay, all the time. Anyways. Yes. So, as I said before, we will be bouncing back and forth between audio only with the interviews that I do, and then these episodes here will be you and I, giving our take on some things that we feel are valuable and worth conversation.
Period.
So, we're going to always start with gratitude. So, what you thankful for?
I am thankful for my baby, Thomas, my little brother. Okay. How my girl can't miss a stroke, you know what I'm saying?
You know they would have known.
Yeah, my little brother finished his first year of college.
Heyo.
And I'm so excited and happy for him. Can't say too many bad things about the kid. He's all right.
He's a great kid.
He's all right.
Inspired kid.
Yeah, so shout out to all your quarantine first years, because y'all had to go through it, but y'all lived your best life, so shout out to you, T-Stacks.
He did live his best life.
Ooh. We gotta do a whole episode on that.
We should invite him in.
Let's not.
We love you, T-Stacks. You know what I'm saying. Great. Well,
what you grateful
grateful
y'all just work.
My gratitude this week goes to the same thing before, but with a better lens on it, which was everything coming together for the promo video shoot.
Which is fire.
Yeah. So I was like, now our first time at recording this, we had just did it the day before, and now it's a week later, and I've actually seen the video. It hasn't been released yet. Well, by the time you see this, it will be. But yeah, I'm really grateful how that all came together. Everybody that participated and helped. Shout out to Chardonnay. Thank you. She was the videographer, and she did the edits, which definitely added like a pop of like, hey, it's popping. You know what I'm saying? So that was great. And then just all the people that collectively worked towards that. So you killed it that day.
Creative director vibes.
I was the creative director. Very clear about that. But you other director, I guess we could call it.
Could be your own. Your own people hate on you.
I'm just saying. You ain't storyboard, you ain't creative director. But yeah, I was really grateful for that. I'm grateful that it all came together, that you have to have a vision and then be like, all right, I'm gonna just try it, and then to see it come to fruition and it be good. I was like, oh, we really that bitch. That's what's up.
Inspired.
It was. But yeah.
So I see my movie on your shirt.
Yes. So this week I am wearing a shirt from Hellastalgia. Let me make sure I say that right. Hellastalgia. That is it's a page. Sorry, I'm just calling it a podcast page. It's an Instagram page that is really highlighting all things nostalgic. If you grew up in really Black culture in any way, shape, or form, 90s, 2000s. In music, film, all those things. It's just very uplifting of Black nostalgic culture of that time period. So follow them. Also, congratulations to you guys, because I just saw that you posted that you guys got 10,000 followers in a year, which I was like, nailed it, killed it. So congratulations to y'all. This is my shirt from them. My, the vibes. So yeah, go run that shit up. If you click on the link in their bio, it'll take you to their link tree that has all their options. If you don't see options for their merch, just DM them, because that's what I did, and I got the shirt. So shout out to them, shout out to you, Dejan, killed it. And then I have my Seeing Sounds button, because I love Spesh. Shout out to you, Spesh. I know you're watching this whenever it drops. Every Wednesday night at 7, she has a show on Twitch called Sing Sounds. It's really great if you're into music. It's particularly about finding new music, so that's a lot of the places where I get put on to new music, new artists, and she shows videos of independent artists as they're releasing their creative projects. So it's a really great show. So if you love music and you want to be in a really good energy community, Wednesday nights at 7 on Twitch. So yeah, ready to get into it?
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to say what you're wearing?
I don't want people to bite my style. No, I'm just playing. Yeah. So Brittany was going through this whole what do you call it? Your minimalist lifestyle.
Yeah.
And she was getting rid of all this stuff, and I'm like, well, that dress is hella cute. So I don't know where she got it, but it fits me and it's mine.
I actually got that in Europe. For it.
It's the dress and the person for me. And I got my jewelry on.
You know what I'm saying?
You feel me? I got my Jesus piece. You feel me? Shout out to him.
Shout out to Easter's.
Yep. And then I got my daddy name and my name and I'm heart. It's a little tangled, but you feel me? When you got 3 chains, it'd be like that. I'm joking.
When you got 3 real chains too.
Right.
That's all right. Cheers. So yeah, this week, what the conversation I wanted to have. So I kind of told you that it came from looking at a post about B. Simone. So she went viral like months ago, and like I said, I'm not really one for being too involved in pop culture, but she went viral, and so it came across my feed in the sense of a lot of comedians were talking about what she was saying. And so she was going into this whole long thing basically about, how women on our end, like we want all these things from a man. So we want a man that's making 6 figures and owns their own home and got a business and but yet, and loves God and all these things, but like our shit don't be right. So like our spirit don't be right, but that's what we want. Or our credit fucked up, but that's what we want. Or we don't own nothing and we want this person who has all this. And so it was interesting to me that what I was most interested in was the comments. So I started reading the comment section because I actually agreed with her. So I didn't really I don't know anything about her outside of that. Like a lot of people were talking about like, oh, you was just the type of female talking about X, Y, and Z. I don't really know. I don't follow her. But it was a lot of like making up like all these things of like, okay, but men need to do this, or men need to consider this, or what about this? And it was a lot of like, what felt like in that moment, I was like, this feels like a lot of people throwing out excuses as to like what she was saying. Like all the counter arguments felt like, I mean, are we just searching for excuses, or do we just want to hate on her? And then also how some people were very much like, oh, like it wasn't just a year ago, you were talking about this on your Instagram, how you wouldn't fuck with a nigga who didn't have money and all this other stuff. So like, I don't know her background, but it just felt like a whole bunch of people like not taking any level of accountability for manifesting the things that they want in their life, because that has to be your own inner work where it starts. So it brought me to this idea. Now I'm a book of pod questions. What is the difference between a reason versus an excuse?
What do you think? What do you think the difference is?
That's changed actually in the week. It's changed.
I wonder why.
So originally I had said, if you haven't picked up, this is our second time shooting this. But nonetheless, I originally said people's capacity. So I said, I think the difference between a reason and excuse is the capacity of what the person could do. So if a person has the capacity to do something and chooses not to, that's an excuse. Versus if somebody doesn't have the capacity, it's more of a reason. But now I gave it more thought, since now we have the time. And I guess my answer is it, I feel like a reason is now more like, it's a factual explanation of an action in a way. So like, if I'm like, oh, like, why did you wait to the last minute to go pick up a SIM card? Which is me. And I explain like what actually happened that led up to that. I feel like that's more of a reason versus an excuse is trying to put accountability and blame somewhere outside of yourself. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like I said last time, I think that the conversation last time was a little bit more, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like easy flow, you know, because we had the conversation of you saying that an excuse is somebody not having the capacity, right? And then
yes, and you talked about expectations.
Yeah.
Go into that then.
I feel like an excuse is, I feel like I said before, I don't have expectations of people. So when I don't have expectations of people, I really don't feel like you're making an excuse for something. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, that person's making an excuse versus that person's making a reason, because who am I to say that you're making an excuse just because you're not meeting my expectation? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't ever lead with, oh, you're making an excuse for X, Y, and Z. Like, let's say, for instance, like you were saying about the SIM card, if you were like, oh, we started late because I didn't know that the GoPro had a SIM card attached. To somebody who had an expectation of you, it's like, Brittany, that's an excuse. Because you could have checked, you could have done this, you could have done that, you could have been prepared.
Which you did say to me.
Right? But it's like, in reality, it's like, it is what it is, we're here. Right? Mm-hmm. And there's a reason why you didn't do it. And I also am a firm believer on like God, the universe, whatever, puts you in the right places to do the right things at the certain right time. And if you're saying, oh, it was like, you know, like somebody's giving an excuse, it's like counterintuitive to the way that I live my life. Mm. So, but I think it's very different. Like, and I can match your energy where you talk about somebody having, you know, like seeing it done before. Like if you tell me, I'm not going to do a podcast today because I just don't know how. Like, sis, that's an excuse. Because I've physically seen you do something and now you're choosing not to do it.
Okay.
That's an excuse.
So then, as far as the whole expectation thing, you say you don't hold expectations for people, right?
I have learned to stop.
Which is probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I don't hold expectations of folks.
I know that I'm different and that I do hold expectations of people.
High.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I just be like, if I'm operating on a high level, then shit, everybody else needs to. Which is fucked up, you know, when you say it out loud, but it is what it is. And I also think that's coming from, I know we're both in education, but I think for me when I was a teacher, personally, I was like, okay, well, I have to have high expectations of these kids so that I can get them to like rise to their potential. But I think there is validity in what you're saying of like just navigating life, and like you're going to be more hurt from having expectations than from not.
Yeah, that's why I don't have expectations. I had to teach myself to not have expectations of folks because, like I shared before, I met somebody one time who once told me the moment that you have to stop having expectations for me, like they're talking about this specifically, you'll stop being hurt by me. Mm. And I didn't understand because I'm like, I know you're capable of doing this. I've seen you do it before, blah, 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 blah. When in reality, it's like, no, you see me in a different space with different people. Mm. So I show up differently. So I took that and put that into my lifestyle. It wasn't just in friendships, relationships, companionships, whatever. It was about life. Like I have goals for myself, but I try not to have too many expectations for myself because then when I don't meet them, I feel like I let myself down. When I use a different approach and now whatever a person gives me, I'm thankful for because I didn't expect it from them.
That's true.
Like, and it's literally small things. Like I would be thankful that somebody Like, for instance, your sister helped set up.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't expect for her to come and do that. You probably like, yeah, that's my sister, so she's gonna help because she's here, right?
I didn't expect it.
But I just in general.
Yeah.
But it's like, to me, it's like, wow, I'm so thankful because that person did not need to do that.
That's true. And I think that, to what you're saying too, setting a goal versus having an expectation might be a little too detailed, in which it stops like the multitude of opportunities and the creativity of how the universe wants to bring it to you, and you'll end up expecting it to be brought to you a certain way, and when it's not, it's damaging. Versus, this is what I'm looking for as my overall end goal. However I get there is how I get there.
Exactly, and that's something I had to learn in life. But I feel like everybody has expectations of folks, positive or negatively, right? And then it's like when they're either met or not met, it's like for instance, like white folks got expectations of black people all the time and how they show up in the world. And then if somebody meets, it's like, oh, well, I expected that person to act that way. Or as if they don't act in whatever white America thinks that black folks should act like, it's like, oh, well, I didn't expect for you to be so educated. I didn't expect for you to be so well-mannered and well-spoken.
Yeah. Which is true, because I feel like I don't have much expectation for white people. Like, there's not much that they do that shocks me. I just be like, like, they do shit and I'll be like, that makes sense.
But I also think that's I'm about to be on one. I think that's a fucked up way of parenting too. Like, I think parents have these like unrealistic or whatever they want to call it. A good expectation for an unrealistic expectation is not, they're the same. Like, you can't be like, it's great for you to have expectations of your child to learn to read at the age of whatever, 1 or 2, right? But then turn around and be like, but I expect my child to be a neuroscience, which is, it's an expectation nonetheless. Like, and people who have high expectations of their children, there's a high number of mental health problems. There's a high number of suicide in college. There's a high, like, as somebody who works in higher education, a lot of people are either dropping out, harming themselves, you know, going into institutions, like mental institutions. And when we ask about how they got into those spaces, it's not because, oh, I had this expectation of myself to do this. It's I'm letting my parents down. My parents want me to become this scientist and I want to be a painter. Like, I can't meet this expectation of this person. So therefore now I want to harm myself because I'm so empty because I didn't meet their expectation, when in reality you didn't have your own for yourself or whatever. Like, you didn't have a goal for yourself. Your whole life has been, I feel like society has made us run on this rat race of expectations of the world. If you ain't got a degree, you ain't shit. That's expectation of society. If you don't make over 6 figures, you're going to be in poverty for the rest of your life. That's, you know what I mean? Like, there's all these things. If you're not married by 30 or don't have kids, like, it's all, like, says who? Society? White supremacy? I'm confused.
As you said that, I thought to myself, that's super valid, because now when I think about it, I go like, okay, well, my expectations of other people is me trying to create who I think they should be, as opposed to them creating who they're going to be. And people, I think, especially in that dynamic of like parent and kid that you brought up, like, there's always going to be this battle, because as you are creating who you think you should be, you're always going to measure it against their expectations, as opposed to just them not even being there, and you just get to create who you're going to be, and you're just like, oh yeah, like, this seems fine.
This is just who you are. Like, I had to stop having an expectation of my parents.
Who have an expectation of your parents is a whole,
yeah, like, I stopped having an expectation of my parents a couple years ago. And it's not that I don't love them anymore. I felt like I was being let down so much until I was having a conversation with my cousin, Dagum, who's
shout
always,
out to you,
Dada, who's always like my voice of reasoning. Like, I was having all these conversations with her, like, oh, my mom's not doing this and that and this and that. And she was like, Cookie, you know that she's a human before she's a mother. Mm. She's a, you know what I mean? Like, she is who she is before she was your mother. She had 30-something years of life before she even thought of you. Like, she got mood swings, she got attitude, she gets hungry, she gets hangry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she has all these things, and you have this expectation of this human that you're supposed to be perfect just because you birthed someone. Birthing someone does not all of a sudden give you a perfect card. And when she said that, I was like, well, damn. But when I see other people's parents, it's like, sweetheart, that's a portrayal.
Honey.
People portray all type of shit. I'm like, damn. And then as soon as I stopped having expectation, I really feel like the relationship, I could say, with my father has grown so much more.
True.
Because now I'm so thankful for everything that they do for me. Like, because you shouldn't have to do it just because you're my parent.
Yeah.
You could be making $60,000 a year and I'm expecting you for you to pay for me to go to college just because you're my parent. Like, that doesn't make sense.
True.
You barely survive it.
Especially in the Bay Area.
Yeah, like.
No, you're right. I think my relationship with my parents became better once I had started, like you're saying. I never connected it to expectations, but it is in a way. But it's really when I started looking at them as a human. Mm-hmm. And it's really and it's the older I got and the more experiences I had in life, and in a way being like, damn, if I was going through all this at 28, 29, 30, or even, 25, I'm like, y'all had 3 kids at this point. And we think as kids they're farther along than they really are. Mm-hmm. But I go like, no, the 25-year-old brain I had, is the 25-year-old brain they had. They don't have the exact same experience, not that they landed on the exact same things, but it is like, yeah, no, they was still what it was like to be 25. You just had to take care of 3 kids too.
And honestly, the development might have been halted in comparison to yours because they didn't get to experience as much because they were raising kids.
Come on. And they have different levels of education, different levels of access, different levels of like experiences. Because at 25, I had been out, like even that, like 25, I had been out of the country at least once, if not twice at that point. My mom's first time out of the country was a couple years ago. And my dad, I think, had been out like one time before. But yeah, like, I don't know. Like, yeah, you have a point. It probably was. All you do is get game. It ain't fine.
I wear a size 6.5 ring if y'all wondering.
A ring, bitch. That's where we at.
Okay. Free game and on point.
So, question 2. Mm-hmm. What excuse have you made to not fully be in your power?
And this goes back to expectation. Mm-hmm. Folks have put expectations on me that were not realistic. At the time, and not in a positive way either. Like, when I was in elementary, middle, and high school, I've always been told all type of stuff. Like, you're not going to go to college, you're not going to be successful, you're not going to make it X, Y, and Z. Because of, what they saw as statistics, like, I graduated high school with a 1.25, I got suspended 36 times every year, like, at least. I had, in and out of trouble, like, I had all these different things against me, so folks had this expectation that I would not, quote unquote, make it. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, I made an excuse for myself. Like, well, they said that I wasn't going to be successful, so I'm not even going to try. Mm-hmm. And they said, like, I wasn't going to be, educated because I'm not smart enough. So I started believing those things and making excuses for why I wasn't getting good grades, and why I wasn't going to class and why I wasn't doing all this. Until I did exactly what I said about other folks for myself. Like, okay, you're following these folks' expectations of yourself when you don't even know what you can reach yet. So then I just put that to the side and I was like, I'm just going to go and do this thing called school and see if it works, And then when I put it to the side, clearly I did all right for myself. So.
She did a little more than all right, honey.
Like, I did okay for myself, and now, that I have reached, and it's funny how God works. Tarek and I bumped into, who's my best friend, bumped into our old small school high school counselor, who was the one that kept suspending me out of school, to the point she was like, I'm gonna send you and your parents to jail for truancy and all this shit, white people. And we bumped into her in a bubble place like last week, and I was like, "What's up, sis?" You know me? Hella old, hella white. And she's like, hella angry still. She's like, you go see that. I'm like, the fuck, you know? She's like, well, what you doing with yourself now?
You was like, let me explain, honey.
I was like, oh, I'm hella just to see this old bitch or woman. And I was like, what? You know, like, you still hella old and angry. For what? And I was like, actually, I'm ABD was my dissertation. Like, I'm done with my PhD at this point. I'm a associate dean at a college. Like, I'm confused. And she was like, she literally looked at my face and she was like, that's shocking. She was like, I didn't expect that.
Hating ass bitches.
And I was like, and that's why you don't live by people's expectations. Like, and she's like, and what is she doing? I said, she actually owns her own business, is doing very well. With some other stuff. I'm not gonna say. But, like, I'm not gonna play this game with you. And those people's expectations do not die. So, yeah. And I made those, if I would have believed that, the excuses I would have kept going for myself, I don't know where the fuck I'd be. No wonder why so many people fall into depression and crisis and, you know, stunting their development, their growth, because they make excuses for themselves based off the shit that other people have said to them.
Yeah.
Shout out to my daddy for not letting me believe that shit.
Shout out to you, Malcolm. No, I love Malcolm.
Yes, my nigga. What about you? You ever made an excuse for yourself?
That, honey, all the time.
Not all the time. You still making them?
I think that's an ongoing journey of like.
What's the last excuse
that I made to not be in my power? The last one.
The most
would
like
be. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was about to say the last one, but the one that it really took you a minute to get out of. Not something quick. It's like, nah, I can't make a podcast. I'm sure picture my thing. Doing great.
I think the last one is the one I'm getting out, like trying to work out now. And I think that it's about, which kind of is tied to my question number 4. So I'm going to throw the question out there because it's all going to come together. Which was, what's something that you stopped creating excuses for and chose to heal instead?
Ooh, what did you?
Which I'm like, that's kind of what you're, similar to what I'm understanding you ask, is just, I think that I had to take a moment to really like look at my, how do I want to phrase this? To look at what I am attracting and take accountability for it. Because I think that allows you to be in your power, as opposed to going through life thinking about, oh, this person did this to me, or this person did this, or whatever. And it's like, no, you have to look at your patterns and look to see at what you're attracting and understand the lesson in that. Because I know you believe this too, like, the universe is always working for your good, in the direction of your good. So even things that don't feel good or you go through, there's still things in there that you needed to take and you needed to learn from to allow you to go into the next level of your life, is really what that is, right? So like, what I have really had to sit with myself and start diving into my own healing and all the like spiritual work that I do and therapy and all that other shit, it's like, I really started to actually have this, I'm not gonna show y'all, but I have this drawn out in my journal of like connecting all these different things of like, oh my gosh, like my father is someone who is, growing up has always been someone that was very emotionally unavailable. So my father, who I love to death, and you just got to say things so people understand and don't take things out of context. I adore my family. Like, I really adore my family. Like, if you read through my gratitude journal, my first gratefulness and thank you for at least like 50 pages is my family, because I feel like I have a really fire ass family. And it doesn't, I think that there's a difference between, you know, we all have our shit and we all have our childhood traumas or whatever, but that doesn't necessarily mean your parent was bad or whatever. It's just, we're all doing our shit. And to be honest with you, the more I've started to work all this shit out and I look at my parents, I go like, hey, like, y'all are fire as fuck. Even for the traumas that I have, I look at y'all and go, y'all fire as fuck, because I look at I have the traumas from the shit you didn't heal, because I look at the generation before you, and whatever you didn't heal, I still give you credit because I look at all the shit you did heal. So you put your Lego pieces in, and you may not have been able to build the whole fucking, you know, spaceship, but you put some Lego pieces in so that by the time it comes down to me, there's less shit that I have to heal. And I go, now I'm like, oh, okay, well shit. I'm gonna put it on my back now. Cause I'm not about to sit here and blame y'all, knowing where you came from and all of the shit you worked out, and there's just some things that didn't get worked out by the time I came along, and that's okay. And even with that, I still, like I told you, and I think I said this before, like, my dad started therapy 2 years ago, which I would have never thought was gonna happen. And you know, like, to the fact that you're still choosing to change, and you're still choosing to be better, and you're still choosing to be better to show up for your grown-ass kids. I'm the youngest, and I'm 32. Like, I'm infinitely blessed. So I just want to say, everything I say about my childhood trauma, I want to make sure it's very clear. This is not shitting on my parents, and they're some of the most fire people I've ever met in my entire life. But I had to really look at, like, oh, my father is someone who, as I grew up, is... like, he couldn't show up emotionally because of his own abandonment issues. So he has abandonment issues with his mom, and, you know, his father who passed, or who he never really met his father because he passed so early. And then I look at my mom and I'm like, well, my mom had a mom who has, you know, because she's changed now, but I just want to phrase that because she's still alive. A mom who didn't show affection, who wasn't like openly loving, and which is, I told you the other day, I was like, you know, it's interesting to me because as much as I absolutely love and adore my family, like, we aren't overly affectionate. Like, I don't hug my parents that often, which I need to change. But like, I'm watching these dynamics of these people in my life and going like, oh, well, being a kid who grew up that was like really sensitive, there's no place for me to put my emotions because I'm trying to put it here. I'm trying to put all of me here, but you lack the ability to connect with me emotionally. And I'm trying to put it here, and then you also just have the dynamic of Black families where we'd be like, you know, like, why are you crying? Like, why are you in your feelings, right? And, you know, now at my age now, I realize like a lot of my sensitivity and all that other, and being a more emotional kid, personally, that was my connection to spirit. Because the way now I look and see all my intuitive gifts coming online and shit, I go like, oh, that's what that was. I didn't have nowhere to put it. But the thing is, as a kid, you start if you keep trying to put something somewhere and it's dismissed, you start learning that to be normal. And you start learning that to be, because they're your parents, you're never going to stop trying. And so you're going to learn people-pleasing habits. Mm-hmm. And that is something, a huge thing that like I am working on letting go of. This is probably my sister being like, let me come back in. Oh no, it's all good. It's like my people-pleasing habits, my need to like be perfect to be seen. And like, because if I think about me as a kid, I'm like, oh shit, like the only way that I got positive reinforcement is like when I did really good in school, or when I was the best at something. And so to me, I now have this thing of like perfectionism because I feel like that's the only way I'm going to get positive reinforcement. Or I also have people pleasing things where I feel like I have to do, and I have to keep laying myself down for people to walk over me to be able to feel valued. Or even this idea of like, when you keep growing up in a certain way and you keep trying to put your emotions in there and they're being dismissed, what you learn too, you have this balancing act of still trying and being hurt, but you also learn like, ain't nobody gonna have your back. Like you don't have to have that shit on your own. And so like, there's also that level of, I attract people to where, and I attract relationships, and I was starting to like really map that out and look at the relationships I've been in and be like, I attract relationships where I always feel alone. Like I'll be in a relationship, but I feel completely alone. And it's because I'm attracting my father. I'm attracting my child, my inner child is attracting my father. I'm attracting abandonment issues. I'm attracting people who can't emotionally show up the way that I need them to. I'm attracting spaces that don't feel safe emotionally, and I've completely normalized it. And I'm like, oh, okay, like this is what it should feel like, because now this is what I think it should happen. And now that I'm seeing that better and I'm working that out, I'm like, oh shit, like, okay. Like, I see what this is. And I take accountability and go, if I want different, I have to change myself. I have to change what I'm attracting. I have to heal my shit. Because once my shit is healed, I attract what it is in my brain I really believe myself to want. And I think the other thing that I'm really recognizing is like that people-pleasing thing. I was just this morning, I'll be on my shit. I was listening to Miriam Hasmea in a class she did on emotional alchemy. And she said, everything that's been repressed from your childhood, that you've packed down, that you aren't even aware half the time that you're experiencing, once it reaches a certain threshold, spiritually what you do is you bring in people to trigger it. And when they trigger it, it's like you have to address it. And it's really for your benefit. That's why I said the universe is always working in your good, because the bigger scope of it, if I can take myself out of the moment of whatever pain or hurt or things I'm working through, if I can take myself back spiritually and look at it at a bigger realm of like, oh, I called you in to trigger that. Because now I'm like, the beauty of it is I go, oh, whatever this next phase of my life is, God is very clear, you can't be moving in no people-pleasing way. Like, that's not going to work for you in this next phase of your life, which is just a different level of growth and expansion. This next phase of your life, you can't abandon yourself for people. You have to be rooted in your own self-love. You have to be grounded in your own shit. Like, all of these different things that I go like, oh, like, this is all because whatever I'm about to go into, I need these things. And I need to call them back to myself so that I'm able to be equipped in this next phase of life. And I go, oh, okay. So like spiritually, I can go, oh, I'm grateful. Like I'm grateful for all the fuck shit. But that is when I am grounded in my, when I'm grounded and really like focused. That doesn't mean every single day is happy or easy. That's not what that means. But it does mean that I have a reference of like, it's always working out for my good. It's always working. And the universe basically being like, yeah, like you gotta heal, because you can't go to this next part without healing that. And so that's where I'm like, oh, I gotta stop making excuses for this shit that is now I'm conscious of, and really do the fucking work and heal it so you can get the shit that you want. Because the universe wants to give you what you want, but it also is like, bitch, I thought this the other day, I was like, if I ever met a partner that actually was going to like really be down for me and really love me and all this other shit, I would have fucked it up. I already know. I would have fucked it up because I wouldn't know how to receive it, because I wouldn't have a place for like understanding what that should feel like. So I'm like, oh, okay.
So do you feel like the relationships that you've had in your past, did you feel like at the time that they were there to really support you and that they were there to really love you and they were there to, or did you feel like, I know.
She's like, take the
at this point. Or do you feel like those relationships, like you knew intuitively, like, something's not right, but this is just the only way that I've learned how to love. So this is what I've normalized.
I think both. I think there are moments intuitively where there's been many moments where I've expressed to like either them or my friends, like I feel really alone in this space. But so like intuitively, yes, there is a little bit of it, but I think that to me, I also just think for people to really, I think it's one of two things, which I haven't landed on yet. I think either the universe gives you the lesson subtly and it becomes more and more loud over time until you fucking get it.
Yeah.
Or, which might be the case, or I think that there's a certain amount of like building that has to happen for when your trigger happens, for the trigger to be strong enough to really wake you up. And I don't know which one it is. Maybe it's the former, right? Maybe it is, you know, and which it probably is a former. I think that's more so what I've learned, but whatever. I think like it had to be loud enough. And I was like, oh shit, okay. Like, you gotta.
So how do you move into these spaces now where you're not making excuses for it and you're actually making reason?
Ooh, I think the number one thing is every time something is asked of me, I always think, or anytime I do something, I always start to think about, why are you doing this? And I ask myself, like, are you doing this because this is something you genuinely want to do? Or are you doing this because whoever's going to be on the receiving end will look at you in a certain manner, right? Like you're doing it because you want them to see you as perfect, or you want them to see you as great, or whatever. Or are you doing it genuinely grounded out of your power? Exactly. I'm telling you, I've been working on myself.
Go off.
But yeah, I have to go like, do I really want to do this because I really fuck with it? Or, you know, am I just looking to be seen? And the crazy shit is like, it's so crazy because there are so many people in the world who are doing shit to be seen in these very like extravagant ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I need to go like, you know, the example I want to give is going to feel like woman shaming, so I don't want to do that one. But like people who are almost like trolling. Like I just want to be seen, you know? But it's crazy to me that it's like, no, there are people who do these like really sweet, loving things that people on the outside go like, oh my God, like, you know, like that you want motherfuckers to look at you like your Mother Teresa. And at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, either I can perpetuate this idea that I am and really be doing this shit out of something that isn't love, or just don't fucking do it. But yeah, so what's the next? What's? I'm throwing that back at you. What's something you stopped making excuses for and chose to heal?
I really thought my phone was ringing. What? Say it again.
So the question is, what's something that you stopped creating excuses for and chose to heal?
Ooh, toxic relationships.
Hello.
Like in every type of relationship.
No, I know. Friends.
Yeah.
Work.
I'm quick to make an excuse for a person's behavior. I'm quick to be like, oh, well, they're just having a bad day. Oh, well, they're just struggling financially, so they need my support. Oh, you know, oh, somebody just, you know, harmed them or hurt them, so they need a shoulder to cry on, or, you know, they have a hard situation, so they need a place to live. Like, until I started realizing, like, people was living at my house and not paying me rent, and I had to basically reparent them. I had to be in relationships with people who, I feel like there was a lot of reparenting that was happening that I was coming into to do for folks. it's how I realized that I need to do that for my damn self before I try to do it for somebody else. And it hit me one time when I was leaving a situation, and I realized like how unappreciative the person was, as if like they were entitled to it.
Ooh.
So I was like, yeah, sis, you're being real toxic to yourself. So I started making excuses for it, and I started to like learn and love myself. And I think that's why now folks like make fun of me, or like even you do it, you're like, you and your boundaries with people. And I'm like, I have very, very, very strict boundaries because I had to learn how to stop making excuses, and I know myself. I know that if I don't make those boundaries, then I'm going to continue to be in these situations, and I'm going to continue to make excuses for them. Therefore, I'm going to, you know, be in this cycle that's unhealthy for me.
Man, you don't play about your boundaries.
I don't play about my boundaries.
I mean, like,
I have a total of like 3 friends.
That's real. That's real as fucking. Not on like you having friends, but sorry, you triggered something I was thinking about the other day. Is that, you know how they say as you get older, your circle gets smaller. And I always thought that was just more so out of like, okay, well, you just stop being outside as much and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh no, you get the wisdom to give more fucks about your energy.
Oh, I give a fuck about my energy.
Oh, okay.
Because my energy is currency. So if you can't afford me, baby, don't be around me is my thought.
Whoo! Say it one more time.
Stupid. I'm serious.
You preaching to me, so I'm like, this ain't shot at nobody.
This is the truth. Like, if you can't respect my energy, why am I in your presence? Because not trying to sound arrogant, not trying to sound entitled, but true shit, and it's unfortunate that we have to, especially as like Black folks, women, have to explain like, oh, I'm not trying to hurt people's feelings, but in reality, it's like, I am a blessing.
Come on now.
To be with. You are a blessing to be with. Anybody's time is a blessing. Mm-hmm. So if you're sitting here and completely disregarding my time, my energy, I no longer need to be around with you. I'm not disrespectful about it. I'm not gonna be like, Brittany, you said, fuck my time, my energy, bitch, fuck you. It's not like that's like, okay. I'm gonna be here for you, I'm gonna support you, but this is no taking. Moving forward, you will no longer have access to me.
You're also a great reader of energy. Like, awesome next level shit. That you don't need much. Like what'd you say?
It's a shout out to spirit.
You don't need much of an interaction, and you'll know. And my dumb ass will be like, but making all the excuses in the world only to be circle back around, later and be like, oh, you was right. And he was like, bitch, I told you that.
Yeah.
But you be letting me.
I do. I'll let you live your best life. Yeah. And I mean, it's not like a negative thing either. It's not like we come back from the spaces and I know niggas ain't cool. Like, whoop, whoop. It's just like, it doesn't seem like we're gonna like our energy's not gonna connect.
Yeah.
I could tell like low key off the bat.
Yeah.
And I think that folks are, and I think this goes back to people's inner child, right? Like, people want to be liked, and they want to have friends, and they want to be cool, or they want to be in community with people. And I'm like, I got a damn good community.
Yeah.
So I don't need to go searching for folks to feel whole. And I also have been raised in a way where, like, I learned how to be whole within myself. So I'm really okay, and I don't know if it's like being an only child for 15 years type deal, but I'm really okay being by myself too sometimes. Like, as much as I love my people, like, I could be okay with like me and like my person. And if that person was a good other thing, then I just be like, okay. Like you said, like, you come home sometimes and see, I would be in my room and not want to talk to nobody and not see nobody and just be in and out and yeah.
But I have to ask. So when you talk about, you realizing like you were reparenting people, do you feel like that was out of you missing some kind of parenting?
Absolutely. I think it's a level of both. I feel like you're put in people's lives for a reason. Like, I feel like that person was lacking something, and I've always had a fear of like other people feeling the way that I do. So I'm like, oh, you missed this like mother figure type deal. So therefore I'm playing this large role in your life. And it's not just like a picking up your clothes, washing your clothes, having mommy deal. I'm talking about full blown, like filling out, helping you do applications, getting you into like stuff that a mother would do. And so I had to realize, like, my biggest fear, unfortunately, is turning out like my mother. And with that being said, like, I've always tried to do everything to combat that. Until recently, I realized I am hella like my mom. I am so much like my mother.
Shout out to Wendy. That's my mother. Because Lord,
I dress like her. I talk like her. I move to the world like her. All types of. My dad looks at me all the time and is like, "You are a spitting image of your mom." From the way your face wrinkles up when you get mad, like the way that you get mad at somebody and cut, like the way I get a move, literally physically move, because somebody didn't piss me off, is very mother-esque. So I was like, instead of trying to fix it for somebody else, maybe fix it for yourself.
And that goes back to what I was saying, where it's like, I think I had to recognize, like, this is your place to take accountability of fix it for yourself, because then your reality will provide you. I feel like our reality is just a reflection of whatever the fuck is going on inside of us.
100%.
So, like, if you fix some shit that's inside of you, your reality shifts. And what you have around you shifts. And what you're bringing in shifts. And because I definitely, I mean, I probably, without even realizing it until this moment, I probably picked that up from you. Like being more mindful of my energy and what I have around my energy.
Oh yeah.
Because since I met you, my circle has gotten smaller.
Ooh, it's not like I cut y'all off.
I don't think no, you didn't do that. But you helped me to recognize the value of making sure that, like, you have yourself around the right energy.
Yeah, because it would suck you dry. I've literally seen myself be in circles with people and be in community with people, and everything about me changes. From the way that I speak, to the way that I talk, to the way that I think of the world will completely change. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's not where I want to be, nor is that who I want to be around. So let me change that. And that means I got to be by myself.
Ooh, come on now.
That's okay.
That's a shout out to all the ladies, honey. Because girls be so uncomfortable. Let me actually not put that on women, because niggas do it too. They just got bitches.
I feel like niggas are more uncomfortable being femaleless than females are being manless.
Interesting.
Or however you choose. This is a very heteronormative conversation,
sorry,
of course. But it's the because I feel like as women, we sit in space and it's like, girl, you know, I ain't got no nigga right now. You feel me? Niggas ain't shit. That's our conversation. Niggas don't sit in a circle and be like, yeah, I ain't got no bitches, bro. What? I ain't never. Niggas lie on pussy.
True. The facts.
Niggas will text a girl for 2 days like, yeah, that's one of my bitches right here. Like, you don't even know sister's name. You think her name is Sita, baby. Like, what?
Exactly. Oh, my goodness.
Like, what?
You know? That's interesting. So maybe it's for women. I think what I'm thinking then, maybe, is for women is like, I think it might just be how it's been delivered, right? Where we always are looking for the white picket fence, I guess, is that complex of like, oh, like I have to be, you know, married and looking whatever. Where men is like, I don't know how to be alone. I don't necessarily need all that. I just need to have bitches around me.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a different level of like alone when we think about alone, right? I think that men know how to be like physically alone for longer periods of time than women. I think that women either like they go, like you said, either be with family, friends, outside, you know, blah blah blah. I definitely heard men be like, yeah, bro, I'm just gonna sit in the house and keep play video games today. You know what I mean? Very like solo-esque. But when it comes to like companionship, I have
and the way they'll look at their friends, what you mean you ain't got no bitches?
Like what? Like I have never Unless that nigga's lying to a bitch to get a bitch. Never heard somebody say, I ain't got no bitches. Because that goes back to ego, right?
Yeah.
Then you saying, basically, you ain't getting no pussy. Which means is, your masculinity is being cut down. Like, there's a whole bunch of, like, layers to that.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because, like, if your masculinity or your ego is attached to a female, go check yourself.
Estadianas?
A female that's probably, unfortunately, not even only, like, I don't, because I'm going to go on about how, like, there's this, like, whole thing of, like, we just talking, and, like, that all goes back to ego.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to the good old days when you just want to take care of your woman? Your one woman. And if you was cheating, you look bad. Now your homie's helping you cheat.
Girl.
You making excuses for why you cheating. Like, what is wrong with people? And now I'm not getting cheated on right now, so don't come back. Really not.
She not. I actually know this.
Yeah, right.
No, I feel that. And I think that too, you know what, we're not going to go into that.
No,
That'll be a
girl,
different episode. No. Because I was about to go into this whole frustrating thing about how men keep trying to, I keep seeing this weird narrative from certain groups of like polygamy. And I'm like, that's not, because that's a different episode. Mm-hmm. That's a different episode. And how they want to base that in, well, this is what, ancient African traditions are. And I'm like, sorry. There's so many layers to that of all the bullshit that's involved in that. And polygamy has its place, but there's just too much. Sorry, we won't go into that. That's not today. That's a different day. So have you had people bring up the old you as a projection of them making an excuse for them not being willing to change?
Yes, the story of my life. Literally.
AKA that teacher.
AKA, God, I'm not going to do that because they're going to X me out. Be banned from the community.
That's a community.
Yes, again, shout out to Dada, bro. Like, we just had the conversation the other day.
When I was making sure it was a recording.
No, that's a trigger.
Because the seconds went away, no, it's minutes, so that's why it took longer. But it changed. So but
my cousin Dagon, again, like, we was having a conversation one time, and I was telling her, I was like, bro, I'm so frustrated because people are saying, like, oh, well, the old cookie this, and that's me, but the old cookie this, the old cookie that, all this stuff, and I'm like, bro, I'm not that girl no more. Mm-hmm. You can stop comparing me to the 17, 18, 19-year-old that I was. Like, I'm like, oh, we can't take her seriously because, like, for instance, within the Ethiopian community, I work in higher education. I have navigated in higher education in K-12 spaces. Yeah. I've helped people get, like, I'm talking about education specifically, right? Mm-hmm. And I have went to parents of young people and been like, do you need help navigating this space in order to get your children into college?
Yeah.
Your child wants to be an artist specifically. I am one of the deans at this school. Let me help you navigate these spaces. They will intentionally go and like hire somebody from the outside world or like completely bypass me.
That's
and be
crazy.
Like, oh, well, I don't know if we could trust her with basically our child's life, our child's education, excuse me. And it's like, I'm not gonna do that. But it's just interesting to me. How you will literally go and pay a stranger who you know nothing about, and I'm not even asking for funds, then trust somebody within your own community because of their past. Because you're not willing to let that go. Because you're not willing to see who I am to this day. Right? Or have these whole panel discussions about education and not even come and ask me. Because you still see me as the same young Ethiopian that was fighting, and getting jumped and doing all this stuff.
Which is crazy because then that makes me question their growth, right? Because to me, I look at people who can go like, oh, I used to be da-da-da-da-da, and then now see how they move, and I go, damn, that means they have wisdom. They got real wisdom because knowledge is facts. Wisdom is knowledge with experience. And to me, experience trumps everything. If you have the experience of changing yourself for your betterment, you are more valuable than anybody with any letters or anything else behind their names.
Yeah, but I mean, some folks are not willing to let that go. When I was having a conversation with my cousin, she was like, it's so frustrating because she was like, they do that within I'm talking about our communities specifically. Mm-hmm. They do that within our community because you don't start off like, you know, in front of the 8-ball. And it's like, okay, I would rather trust somebody who has similar identities to my child and who's now in the space where I want my child to be than a stranger who I know nothing about. Because half of your kids is kicking ass and getting suspended. And you want them to get into these Ivy Leagues. But you're going to send them to these fucking Ivy League ass people who ain't never experienced what they experienced. But I'm just going to mind my business because I still kick somebody's ass. You know, so maybe that's why they think that. Just kidding. Just kidding. I believe it's going to continuously happen. Yeah. And maybe it's because of the reputation that I had for myself when I was younger, and that's okay. People could believe what they want to believe about my past, but I wouldn't change nothing about it because that's who made me who I am today, and I'm very, very proud of it. So yeah, they can go ahead and think what they want to think because
not to fix the dress
on this Easter Sunday. Fix my dress.
The Lord has risen.
Yeah, I have time, but yeah. I mean, it happens. It's going to continuously happen, but I do my best to make sure that I don't do that to people. I don't ever bring up people old shit. I don't.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. People be like, "Why you gotta bring up old shit?"
Yeah, like, it's the niggas. They say that.
Niggas do be saying that. Like, nigga, that was 2 days ago. What the fuck?
And you did it again today.
What you mean old shit? No, I will definitely say that. Ooh, I gotta phrase this in a way that doesn't make me emotional. Having you and my father in my life right now, which are both two people that, for different reasons and different aspects, have had like their own issues regarding abandonment. Having both of y'all in my life as people that are actively working on their healing, and by the time I met you, you been down that path. you weren't at the start of it. You was on the trail, you know, in that bitch. It is valuable to my healing journey because then I can seeing people heal the same type of thing that affected me helps me heal. And so it's funny to me, not funny to me, but I was thinking about this the other day where I'm like, damn, like, I don't have a lot of people that, or I don't have a lot of people that would be like, oh, the old Brittany would have blah, 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 right? But you do. And I think what's crazy to me in context to what I'm saying is like, with that being said, if people look at us, they might go like, oh yeah, like you needed me. And I go, no, I needed her. And that's the crazy shit where I'm like, yeah, like people who have really been through some shit, but also really have worked on themselves and really have healed themselves. Like, I just, you know how I am about healing. And you know how this is what all of this is giving back in some way of how you can go about healing or having that, being able to have the conversation or resonate with somebody about healing. But I think when we talk about actually being healers and healing large masses of people, it really isn't about the masses, it's about the individual. Because when you heal yourself, the people around you needed the healed version of you so that they can do their healing. Like they needed to see that shit. I think about L's episode and like the shit he was talking about, and I'm like, yo, like there are so many people that are going to be able to hear that from you, and more importantly, they needed to hear it from the healed version of you So, and it's going to mean something for their current situation of healing. And I just go like, I thought about that the other day. It's crazy that I'm like, oh, like I think a lot of people would have probably, from like societal standards or whatever, the bullshit, be like, oh, like you needed Britney, and I was like, no.
I mean, we hear it all the time. We hear it all the time.
Like a bitch needed her.
Wow.
Aww.
No.
You see how you treat me? I just talked about hitting my emotions to people and being dismissive.
I love you.
She said no.
No. Aww. I love you.
Anyways, I'm gonna go back to my lone wolf. No.
Let's hold hands.
You just trying to show that your nails look better than mine.
Lovely.
The shade. All right, last question.
Okay.
We're gonna lighten it up. Speaking of excuses, what is the coldest excuse?
Ooh, that is not for me today.
If you done gave one of these niggas
I don't got niggas.
to either get out of having to give them your number, well, you probably be the bitch that just says no. But
I was gonna say
getting out of a date, getting out of giving their number, something where you've had to give one of these niggas an excuse. So you like, I can avoid that.
This is about to be a real me-ass answer. I don't give nobody a fucking excuse. I really don't.
Be like, no.
You know this.
What's out of pocket?
Like, in no space do I, because I don't want people to feel like they have a chance still. And it don't really be an excuse. It'd be like a gentle letdown. Instead of being like, nah, I got a nigga. Like, I hate bitches like, nah, I got a nigga. You know?
I'm bitches. I'm bitches.
Well, damn, we don't work on it. Like,
I know, that's a people pleasing thing of like, oh, I don't want to hurt your feet. Like, I have any fucking control of your feelings.
We be out together and people ask for my number. I'm like, this my bitch. You gotta ask her. And I say it not to give you an excuse, but it's like, oh, I'm about to catch you off guard. What's your response?
And people gonna really believe you.
They're
like motherfuckers in my. Never mind.
Niggas in your mind.
No, remember I told you I was like somebody in my DM talking about, are you lesbian? And
No.
I was like, what? Stranger in my DMs? Why are you asking me that? No, but also, why do you think you should be able to ask me that?
It's the audacity. But yeah, we don't give people excuses for stuff. I think it's more like, what's the coldest way to let somebody down?
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how I let them down, but I definitely just like, I cut people off, and that might be the coldest way to let them down. Like, and not cut them off, like, okay, I just stopped answering your phone call. Like, I used to be so bad to the point where it's like, I would legit just change my number on a Tuesday.
Not say nothing.
Yeah, on a Tuesday. And it was to the point where all my friends and stuff, like, I was like, y'all, this is my new number. They're like, bruh, what are you doing? And I'm like, It was, and then one time I bumped into the same dude that I did that to, like 3-4 years down the line. And he was like, bruh. And I was like, I didn't even want to talk to you and give you a reason. That was just the easiest way for me to do it.
That's hella funny.
So yeah, I guess that's the coldest way that I don't know. I really don't like people. So it's not very hard for me to be like, I don't really want to talk to you right now.
That's true.
I tell you that all the time. But I'm just, you too, you told me you want to talk to me.
I was going to say, I feel like I tell you that, but then you tell me. I feel like...
My response be, I don't care.
You don't. Oh my God, you don't give a fuck.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really have excuses. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, okay, well, maybe I can come back later.
Oh my God. Yesterday when I was asleep, he was like... I mean, I know you sleepy or whatever, but now I've done enough shit, so I'm awake and I'm up. So, like, let's have a conversation. And I was like, but you see me trying to sleep. And I was like, bruh, you don't care. And you were like, I don't. So, can we have a conversation? I was like, Jesus Christ. I guess we're going to talk right now. And we did, because you're a fucking Capricorn and y'all motherfuckers end up getting whatever you want. People just do it.
Like I said, we started in the year, so shout out to all my Capricorns.
Y'all don't shut up. Y'all don't. Oh, Jesus Christ.
What's your little excuses you be giving people? Because you be having them.
That's that people pleasing shit. It's trying not to hurt nobody's feelings.
Let these people feel it.
You know, I know. I'm better about it now. I think the other thing too is like,
because you know maybe now when they hurt your feelings, I get real angry. I get real angry when they hurt your feelings.
The way. I have a thing about also like people are really terrible communicators typically in general. Like, and so as much as sometimes I would be down to just have a conversation and be like, you know, like I'm not really feeling this no more. Like, like people are so bad at communicating that like I just want to avoid having an adult conversation because they aren't capable of it, or like they don't want to have it, or they want to do hella extra shit that I'm just like, this is me saying no, and just take my no to be a no rather than trying to like spin this conversation trying to change my no into something else. I think that's what bugs me.
Yeah, that's.
And I'm like, let my no be a no.
That's
but
when you start getting rude. Not you, but that's what
that's my face up like I should, but I'm not good at it. But I want to be like, that's the thing. I want to be better at just being like, no. Like, no, I'm not interested. I'm good.
People do not take that well.
They don't. That's why I be coming up with excuses. And I don't think I've had anything that was that crazy. Like a lot of my shit is on some like, oh, I have a boyfriend or I'm married or da-da-da. Like that shit where you just, you know, say you got a nigga, so niggas will leave you alone. And I'm also just like, the niggas just learn to just take no's. That's no's. Also, like, I feel like people's body, like, if you hitting on somebody, pay the fuck attention.
They don't care. They do pay attention. Some people think that's like, you trying to play hard to get. It's like, no, I don't want you, bro.
You trying to play hard to get.
Like, I genuinely don't.
I don't think, no one's playing hard to get anymore, gentlemen. If you're watching this, no one is playing hard to get anymore. A no is just a no. Like, that's some old shit.
Yeah, that's what just like, that's gonna make me sound real good. And I'm not, you know, but for real.
I don't know what just happened.
Well, let's just change it. You know what else really bothers me about niggas?
Okay. This is turning into that. That's what's up. Let's do it.
Is that like, you know, like the niggas that got the nerve to try to holler? You know, like your tooth be missing and you got half dreads, half flat irons, and like you got two different shoes on. They will have the most courage.
Oh my gosh.
To be like, what's up, baby? I could take you out of the hood. Like, I'm not in the hood. We are in Walnut Creek. I'm a little confused on it. You know?
I'm that person that when that shit happened, I'll be going home looking at myself being like, are you falling off? Like, cause why did this nigga think that this was?
And then it'd be the most fun. And they're like, well, I didn't think I had a chance with you. It's like,
I mean, the honest truth is with that kind of attitude, they don't have a chance with you because you don't deal with meek niggas like that. You don't. Like, you don't deal with like boisterous people. Like, I need to be loud and control the room. But like, if niggas ain't got confidence, they have no business even. Don't even put your toe in the water. If you're thinking about it and you don't have a lot of confidence.
And not cockiness.
Not cocky, but genuine confidence. Oh my gosh, please don't try it. I'm not going to save you. I'm done playing Captain Save Hope.
And I am not going to make an excuse to why I don't want to fuck with you. I'm not even available, y'all. I'm for the Lord.
Crazy.
I think you did that backwards, sis.
I don't really know how it's supposed to go because I'm not Catholic.
Is that a Catholic thing?
Yeah, it's a Catholic thing.
What? It would be the pastor's daughter who teach me some shit like this.
I mean, we wasn't Catholic.
I know, but like, you know, for
that don't nobody in Black church do that shit. I learned that shit at Odell.
I'm not Catholic either, but we do that.
I mean, but a lot of Ethiopian Christianity is based in Catholicism, though.
You better preach. She is ministering right now. Amen. What? Give me an excuse. How about that? How about you give me an excuse? So if a nigga try, I ain't gotta be rude. I got a nigga is not an answer. What? So right now, ring, ring, ring. One of these niggas from back in the day just called me, trying to holler. I answer the phone. Hey, what's up? Antoine. Tyrone.
They gonna be like, you try to kick it?
I've been seeing you on the podcast or whatever.
Ooh.
And you've been looking real.
They hit you with the deep voice?
Yeah, that's how they get you.
Oh, okay.
I've been seeing on the podcast where you've been looking real good. I see you doing well for yourself. I heard on the podcast you got a job. Good job.
Bitch, I heard you got a benefit.
Right.
I heard you so lit you don't even get a stimmy.
So, what's up? Can I take you out on a date? Brittany Nation's excuse would be.
Oh, shit.
Hello, Maya, can you hear me? I know I'm on the metro, but can you hear me?
You know what? I'm really, I gotta take my niece out, so.
Niece? Thomas got kids?
Yep.
Then damn, he fast. Fail.
I failed. I told somebody something about a niece one time. Neither of my siblings got kids.
Damn. How'd it work out? Did they call you back?
No, I think they knew I was lying.
Okay.
Like, I think they could pick up that I was lying. That's the other thing, too. That's awkward as fuck. When I've been called out about lying before. Like, I've been called out about giving an excuse for, like, I'm not interested. And they're like, nigga, just say no. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I could have just said no to you, my bad. It's a numbers game out here, bro. I don't know.
And you also don't want to count a nigga out because he might be popping in the next 5 years. He could be real gentle.
Nah, he might be popping.
You don't know. He be on 4 + 3 years. You talking about, damn, bro. I didn't count you out because you was missing a tooth, and now you got the veneers.
The way I found out what your teeth look like under veneers, I was like,
that's the same way these bitches look under their BBLs.
all right. Well, this was a Royal Nation episode of Conversations with Nation. Thank you so much for joining us. Please remember to follow us on our pod page, which I actually have to have a conversation about giving you part ownership of that, by the way. I'm scared. I don't know what you're going to be posting. Just a bunch of nigga shit.
I love niggas.
At Conversations.
Black people, not men.
True. At Conversations _with _nation. Also, Conversation with Nation is our YouTube. So go ahead, subscribe, please. Hit that button, that notification button.
And like.
Yeah, that too. You right. So thank you so much. And anything you want to end with?
As promised, came back for season 2, some new hair. Done by Liz, you know. It's a full, I'm not a full, it's a U-part wig, so.
Not the whole information.
Yeah, y'all need to know. I'm real transparent around here. Because, you know, it's hot girl summer.
Oh my gosh, it is. It's about to be. So yeah.
Support Black businesses. Hire her.
You want to drop her at?
I don't even know sis Instagram. Okay. That's really sis though. Hold on. For real though, y'all. She really do a good job.
She do be doing a good job.
She does a great job.
Looking great.
Yes. And my hair originally is down to like here. Very full, very thick, very Habesha vibes. And she braids it down, gets it together. This is a protective style, so I ain't got to put heat on my real hair and still keep my curls. But yeah, it's Audrey Law Follow.
They not gonna be able to see that.
Follow sis. Get your hair done.
Hella funny. Yeah, that's it. And as always, be in your power. Bye.